Light the beam, keep it lit. Say goodbye to the LA Lakers and their obnoxious fans as they head to the exits at Golden One Center. Final score 120-107. The Kings sweep the season series from the LA Lakers. That's right, sweep them 120-107. Ryan in Sacktown at a moment. The postgame show right here on If You Don't Like That.
2, 1.
Sacramento miscue. Carter, stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball.
Fox, goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball!
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa! Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Foley. That was a major league smush.
Oh, what a night. What a 24 hours. Best 24 hours of the season, Ryan. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. What a huge back-to-back performance last night, Milwaukee, and tonight, the Lakers. You know, the Lakers, they can't beat the Kings. They can't run with them. They don't have the athleticism. They don't have the matchups. I mean, the 4-0 sweep tells you a lot.
It tells you a lot. And the greatest compliment that I could pay this team tonight is a 12-point lead never felt like it was in question, Grant.
Right.
This team played well from start to finish, and they did it with combinations that they haven't always had this year. Great job, Sacramento.
Yeah, very, very good job. I mean, all 5 starters in double figures, right? So
yes.
You had very well-rounded scoring. You didn't get that explosion in this game from the bench, but you got well-rounded scoring from the bench. You know, I mean, when you look at the contribution from the bench players. But, you know, I think really on back-to-back nights, Ryan, I'm going to say this again. This is the best 8-quarter stretch that I've seen the Kings have this year.
No doubt. Hands down the best 8 quarters they've had. And the big question now becomes, Grant, what do the Kings do with it? They've got New York coming up on the schedule. And I don't know. We haven't seen the team play this well 2 games in a row. Yep. So what's next? Are they going to play well again?
Yeah, and the question, you don't really know who's going to be on the floor for the next, but we'll worry about that at a different date. Just a reminder, Jerry Reynolds tomorrow at 4 o'clock right here on If You Don't Like That. But just an outstanding game all around for the Kings. Fox, you know, I thought it's kind of a slow first half, but, you know, you look at his numbers, 21 points. He had 7 assists. The whole team was solid. I mean, and what a difference. Keegan Murray coming back, boy, that was huge. I don't think the Kings win this game without Murray. I thought he was outstanding in this game.
Excellent point. Do you think Keegan is valuable on defense to this team, regardless of what he does on the other side of the ball? So great to see him back on the court. And I just feel like this Kings team maybe has found a little something, Grant. And you look at them going into the fourth quarter. When was the last time that we said Fox and Ellis were plus 20 combined going into the fourth quarter, starting backcourt, and your backup backcourt plus 16?
The Lakers can't play with the Kings. I mean, They just can't. And, you know, I've been saying all season, I don't want to play the Lakers in a one-game scenario if the Kings are in the play-in. But quite frankly, that wouldn't concern me right now. I mean, it really wouldn't. But you want to get into the top 6, and that is the goal. And if the Kings play the way they did last night and the way they did tonight, they will be in the top 6 because I think they'll overtake Phoenix because the Suns have an absolutely brutal schedule beginning Friday with their game in Boston. They have a brutal stretch. Brutal. You know?
It's a weird time for a stretch like that, but this has been a little bit of a weird schedule this year. I think the Kings, it comes down to how they're going to play and can they replicate it. And I think one thing that we are not talking about enough, and we need to see a bigger sample size, whatever changes they've made to this backcourt, to this rotation as of right now, it has the ball moving. And when the ball moves, it gives the opportunity for Harrison Barnes to go off at any point in the second half because he's comfortable and in the game. And you're going to see those role players play so much better when they feel like they're contributing.
Yeah, very good assist to turnover ratio, 30-12, and that's outstanding. So listen, you do what you had to do. Coming off a horrible I thought it was a bad stretch, just barely beating San Antonio and then losing to
Yeah.
Houston. And then you bounce back and beat two teams that one team that I didn't think you were going to beat last night. And then the Lakers tonight, who were waiting for you, second night of a back-to-back. There's nothing not to like in the last two games other than the fact of Trey Lyles getting hurt in the first half yesterday against the Bucks, and obviously he wasn't available tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing, Grant, for me that sticks out over these past 8 quarters that we both agree it's the best the Kings have played is the fact that the Kings have played so well without turning the ball over. Number one, that is a big thing to me. But also just the fact that they have brought the physicality to other teams. They're not waiting to see how teams are going to play them. They're saying, hey, we're going to play this style and you're going to deal with it.
120 to 107. The Mavericks win. The Pelicans lose. And the Kings have 2 more games left on this homestand coming up with the Knicks and the Grizzlies. And you're looking for some consistency here. Again, I thought this was the most consistent I've seen Sacramento play over a 24-hour span. And they move into 6th, all right? And they are 38 and 27. Remember, Phoenix plays Boston tomorrow. The Pelicans now, they are 39 and 26. So only a game separates the Pelicans and the Kings. Now, understand the Pelicans have the tiebreaker. So that's really a 2 lead. And they play again coming up one more time.
Yep, they'll see him one more time. And I think really what that game's about is just to get a decent taste in your mouth against that team, because they've been blown off the court, just in case you do see them down the road.
Yeah, and those 2 games coming up later this month against Dallas when the Kings get back from their 3-game road trip, those are going to be huge games. 2 games in Sacramento with a few days off in between.
Yes, they are. And maybe this team turns a corner on their home court. They're finding something. The spray threes, the 50-50 balls, they're making it happen.
All right, great to have so many people on the chat line and joining us both here on YouTube and on X. We appreciate the messages. Great to have Amir back. Missed being here, Grant, getting back into it, watching with his son. What an amazing 48 hours. Yeah, 24 hours, actually. 24 hours. 24 hours, because 24 hours ago, we were talking about the Kings' victory against the Milwaukee Bucks. But it's great to have you back, Amir. We really appreciate that. Edward chiming in. Keon is a talker on the floor, too. Love it. Kings catching fire at the right time. I'm not ready to say they're catching fire just yet, okay? But they're heading in the right direction. Keegan playing outstanding defense, no doubt about that. All of those are true. No doubt about it. Thumbs up, guys. Yeah, give us a thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate that. Also, if you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. But again, no negatives over these 24 hours other than the injury to Lyles. That's about it, you know?
Yeah, you really can't point to much if you're the Kings. You look at the health situation, but again, a lot of positive, and still a lot of room to grow for this team, Grant. A lot of basketball left in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Each and every game is basically a playoff game. You know, the playoffs have already started for all intents and purposes because you really need to be in the top 6. So all of these games are like playoff games. They really are.
Yeah, that's it. We kind of said that once they came down to like their last 25. But think about what you did to the Lakers, not just tonight, but what you did to them last week. I mean, you effectively put them in the play-in. You have taken the chance away, in my opinion, for them to get up to that 6 seed. They're going to need a lot of help.
Yeah, they're done. They are definitely not going to be climbing up to the 6 seed, Ryan. That is not happening. There's not enough games left. And here's the other deal, Ryan. They're not good enough. I mean, why don't we just call it the way it is? They are not good enough. They're just not. The Lakers are not good enough.
No, they're not. And they've got a big decision to make, Grant. I mean, in your 32 years of covering the NBA, have you ever seen a situation like the one with LeBron and possibly Bronny coming into the NBA and how that affects where LeBron lands?
Not really. Not really. I don't know much about Bronny other than the fact that everyone says, you know, he's very, very overvalued. and overrated in terms of a draftee and whether he comes into. But yeah, I haven't really given it a lot of thought, to be honest with you. But if you're asking me, and now I do give it some thought, no, I really haven't seen anything like that.
And it's something that you got to pay attention to, because if the Lakers or whatever team LeBron may be on the rest of his career, if they draft Bronny or overdraft him, I should say, with the new CBA coming into effect, draft capital is the new capital. So you could screw your franchise up pretty big with LeBron
Well, the
on the
other
downside of his career.
the other thing that we need to talk about is how much longer will LeBron James play? All right, that's another thing. I mean, I don't have the answer to that question, but I mean, I still think it goes without saying that he is really good. Hey, I want to tell you about Gold Country Veterinary Hospital. You ready for this? This was yesterday.
Oh boy.
The procedures that they did. They did a CO2 laser resection of an elongated soft palate in a bulldog. They did extensive oral surgery on a terrier with 24 abscessed teeth. They had a thyroid tumor removal in a German Shepherd. They had a spay and neuter for a rabbit. Okay, you ready for this one, Rhino? They removed a small Nerf ball from the intestine of a cane corso. That's what they do at Gold Country Veterinarian Hospital. In a nutshell, Ryan, they do it all. They are awesome, and they also have the latest technology in pain management and their protocols, which really accelerates the recovery process. That's Gold Country Veterinarian Hospital. I love when I get those messages from Dr. Griffiths about the procedures that they do on a daily basis.
Napes, can we get a reality TV crew out to Gold Country, please? Please, just get him out there. Get him out there.
I know one thing. If my dog ever has an issue and has an emergency or anything, even if I have to get my dog on a plane and fly it to Auburn, that's where I'm going. Okay,
it is 100% going there. There is no doubt about that. Hey, Grant, we have a very, very special guest on the show right now. We're going to bring him in. I think you know him. He's one of my favorite people. It's Brian Bennett, owner of Bennett's West Side Grill.
Oh, love it. Hey, Brian. We can't hear him.
Oh, he trolled us.
But you know what? Maybe he had an order and he had to run back to the kitchen to help a customer. Man, I would be great to have Brian join us on the show. Brian Bennett, of course, of Bennett's, and we'll get to their sponsorship in a moment. But what a great guy. I love when I'm in town and I can sit down and enjoy a meal with Brian. He always has me laughing. He always has me laughing. Always.
He is great. He is great.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm glad he's joining us. Brian, thank you for being with us. Thank you for your sponsorship. Thank you for your friendship. And I'm sorry that we could not hear you. He said, hey, I'm killing it. He goes, you're killing me. Hey, Brian, you're the best.
Yes,
and you know what? Okay, so here we go. All right, because I really do want to talk about this. And then we'll get to the calls and everything else. Bennett's West Side Grill is their newest location, right? And I love the ambiance out there. The last time I was in town, I had a great dinner with Brian, and I had the New York steak, which is absolutely my favorite. But it's prime seafood and steaks, whether it is in Roseville, on Eureka Road and Lead Hill Road, or Howe and Fair Oaks in Sacramento. You are going to find great quality food, the ambiance, the service, 60 different types of wine available by the class. And here's something else you should really keep in mind. And Ryan, I know you've been there with your family for the weekend brunch. They have a great weekend brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. Amen. They also have the prime rib on the weekends. Get to Bennett's. And if you go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, you can make a reservation, check out everything that they have to offer. That's Bennett's. And Brian, we do greatly appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Brian. And Kings fans, it's brunch season. Easter, Mother's Day coming up. Get to Bennett'sRestaurants.com right now. 2 entrees, $44. Bottle of champagne. You can't beat that.
We got Brian again. We're gonna try it. We got to try it one more time here.
Yeah, let's see if we can get Brian on with us. This would be a special treat. Brian, are you there?
We can't hear.
You know what? He's got too much redfish in his mouth, probably. That would probably be my guess, right, Napes?
Oh, he's a beauty. Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you what was a beauty. The Kings last night and tonight, a thing of beauty. And now they are neck and neck with Phoenix, who has Boston coming up. You got to figure they're not going to beat Boston. Then they have Charlotte, and then they're at Milwaukee. So they got a couple of tough games coming up. That's why the Kings need to take care of business, because if you've taken a peek ahead at the Kings schedule, it is very, very difficult coming up, beginning with the Orlando game on the latter part of their road trip. Their games after that are very, very challenging.
Yep, you are spot on, Grant. You go Orlando, Philadelphia. You got two at Dallas, which we've talked about, Utah, and the Clippers.
Yep. Hey, love everyone chiming in. Again, if you are joining us for the first time, please subscribe. All right, we would really appreciate it. Just hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost anything. You're not going to get an email. You're not going to get hassled. It just alerts you to when we have content, like tomorrow at 4:00 when Jerry Reynolds joins us right here on If You Don't Like That. So really appreciate your support. Appreciate our sponsors and everything that you do for us. Thank you very much.
No doubt about it. And if you would like, you can call the show. We were trying to effort Brian there. Grant, you ready to take a phone call?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Let's bring in the NBA guru, Zach. I don't think he's going to be crying tonight. What's up, Zach?
How you guys doing?
Good.
I have a couple points about the game, and then I got a couple of bones to pick with you guys. Number one, just want to give props to myself as well and Keon Ellis. Been calling them out for the whole season. 6-0 when he's starting. The defensive intensity, just love it when he's in the game. Today, I think honestly, one of the best defensive games we've had this year, to be honest. Duarte, Davion, Keon, everyone was playing great on defense. I love to see it. Even Barnes on LeBron was playing well. That was great. Harrison Barnes been playing very well lately, very sneakily well in the last few weeks. I think that needs to give some props to him. He's been making his threes like crazy. It was nice that LeBron was leaving him wide open for like the fourth quarter every time. That was pretty good. But he's been playing. I think he's shooting 40% from three this season, so that it's really good. Back-to-backs this lately. We started I think 0-4, and I think we're 6-5. So I think that's been very good on the back-to-backs. Been just getting a little bit better. So I really enjoyed the game. Fun game. The first bone, I got one for each of you guys. First one is Grant. Giving the Kings a C for their entertainment and style of play that Ryan gave us the question a few days ago. I think that's disrespectful. They really play the same type of way as last year. I don't see the difference if you were giving them a very good grade last year. The defense is still bad. They shoot a lot of threes. They're fast-paced. Sabonis is the facilitator. We get just as many passes. We get as many points as last year. I would just like to know why you gave them a C on maybe one of the most fun teams in the league.
Well, first of all, I disagree with you 100%. They're nothing like last year. The statistics prove that out. The point differential proves that out. The number of bad losses they've had this year sticks in my mind. But I look at the point differential as one of the most telling statistics in all of basketball, and it's not anything near
what it was last year.
But we're just talking style
of play. Just talking style. And
I understand, but style of play determines what your point differential is. Okay, your style of play is both offense and defense. I don't think offensively they're as good as they were last year. They are not clearly as efficient as they were last year. And I enjoyed watching last year's team more than this year's team. I thought last year's team was more entertaining. And I'll tell you what I centered around it, Zach. I centered around De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox this year has had too many games where I was not impressed, where I'm like, come on, really? Body language, actions on the floor, not being there. He's playing very well right now, but I didn't see the lulls in De'Aaron Fox's game last year. He was Mr. Hero. He was Mr. Fourth Quarter. We haven't seen that this year because the Kings haven't really been in a lot of close games. And when they have had close games, Fox has not duplicated what he did last year in the fourth quarter. That's the reason why I can't compare the entertainment value this year to last year. The Kings have had very few close games, very few games this year, Zach, where you're on the edge of your seat waiting for every possession. Last year, it seemed like it happened all the time. That's why.
I gotcha. I just feel, I mean, that's some fair points. I just feel like the pace and the way the style is pretty much the same. And, we are even shooting better 3-pointers this year. Our 3-point percentage is better than last year. Points per game, we're just doing maybe, I think, one or two less. Passing, assisting is almost the same. I do have to check. That's just a couple points. The bone I got with Ryan now, yesterday.
Uh-oh.
He said
Yep.
that Malik is going to try to get 28 to 30 million a year. I want to put a dinner at Bennett's on the line. I'll buy you dinner at Bennett's if he gets over 27.5 million. If you agree to that, that's even on the lower end of what you said he would get. If he gets lower, you got to take me out of Bennett's, and I'm just going to order a steak and a nice soup.
Steak and a nice soup. Oh, you're a cheap date, Zach. Sure, I'll take your friendly bet. Any meal at Bennett's is a good meal. 27.5. I don't know, Zach. It's going to be interesting. I still think it's going to be around that number. I do. I think 28 is probably it. I know it seems high, but who else is going to be available this offseason for a spark, a sixth man, a guy that could come in and start? You could theoretically bring in Malik Monk as a second piece for a team that's building right now, and he would be excellent. So if he doesn't get 27 or 28, I'll have questions.
Good, because I think the guy you compared him to was Kuzma, but he's a wing, and I think those are a little bit more coveted for. I think he might get some type of Strus, D'Lo, Jordan, even Poole is on the higher end at 25 million a year. But I think he'll get between 20 and 25, maybe around 22.5. I think the Kings can only offer 20 a year, but
they're capped. Yeah.
Yep. So hopefully we retain him.
All right, now, Zach, I'm going to give you something to look out for, beginning with the Knicks game. And I've seen this a lot in my years of covering the NBA. You've been high on Keon Ellis, and justifiably so. And I thought tonight he was outstanding. But now what's happened, particularly over the last 24 hours, more so than even the previous games, there's a lot more video on him. The scouting in the NBA is very, very comprehensive. And now teams are getting more video on him where they can break him down, and they may attack him differently than they have been based on now more information. So just keep an eye on that as these games go on. If Keon's minutes continue to stay the same or even increase, now there's more video on him. And I'm telling you, the defensive and the offensive coaches in the league are getting more looks at Keon Ellis. You have to remember, Zach, you know this. He was undrafted, okay?
Yep.
Last year, he only played in a handful of games. This year, he hasn't been playing that much until recently for all intents and purposes. With that comes a lot more video, a lot more scouting, and the minds on these NBA coaching staffs are pretty good. And I can tell you right now that Tom Thibodeau and his staff are looking at video of Keon Ellis, different video that they didn't have a week ago, and they're going to try to figure out a way to attack him and exploit him because, Zach, every player in the NBA has a weakness. You just need to find it, and when you do, you attack it. So just keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I think these last couple of weeks, the teams that have been what they've been doing on Keon is just giving them the threes, and Keon's been shooting three. Yeah, Keon's been shooting the three very, very well.
Yep.
I mean, if they're going to respect that three, that's even better for the Kings, to be honest. Then he can penetrate. Hopefully, learn he can penetrate and pass out the ball. That'd be great for us. So,
well, let me pose this question. Sorry to cut you off, Zach. I want to pose it to both of you really quick. If you are an opposing team, you are Tom, you are Tibbs. Are you game planning to go under a screen to try to dare Keon Ellis to beat you?
I'd go. It's tough because his small sample size of the threes. Even though he's been shooting well, I probably would still go under just for a few more weeks just to see it. But in the playoffs, I might leave it under just because it's going to be his first time. He might be a little shaky. You never know. But for right now, I think it's going under. But you got to respect if he does this for a few more weeks. We'll see.
Yep. Hey, Zach, excellent call to get us going here. Excellent call, and we'll look forward to talking with you down the road.
Appreciate it, guys. Great win. Light the beam.
Yes, indeed. The beam is lit. Kings win it. They beat the Lakers for the fourth time this season. The question is, will they be playing a fifth time? And if that were to happen, it would be in the play-in. It's a possibility.
Does it make you nervous?
No, it did a couple of a month or so ago, but after now watching these last two games in the last week and analyzing what the Lakers have and the Kings have, and I now have four games in my mind to go with. The one thing that just keeps on popping up at me, the Lakers can't run with the Kings. They don't have the matchups with the Kings. I mean, Sabonis has just destroyed the Lakers, and they've really neutralized Anthony Davis in these games. And I just like the matchups. There's nothing that I've seen from the Lakers, and I know they have LeBron, I know they have AD, but they've had LeBron and AD, and the Kings still beat them. The matchups to me, I'll tell you what I think is the X card in all of this, okay?
Yeah.
And that's Russell for the Lakers. If Russell has one of his games, which he's very capable of having, that changes the equation. But the Kings have done a really good job on him. I don't think the Lakers in a one-game playoff would beat Sacramento. I just think the matchups don't favor the Lakers against Sacramento. I like the Kings matchups in almost every position on the floor.
Yeah, it's good points. I was a little uneasy coming into tonight, but now that we've seen a little bit more Keon, and I think we're gonna see some more of him, I'm not, because with Russell, the big thing with that is hedging, and Mike Brown talked about that a lot not too long ago. For those that you don't know, hedging is when the point guard jumps out or the big man jumps out when they're screened and gives a little bit of help. And that takes a ton of communication. So they've done a good job the last couple games. Keon brings that. If they can do that with Russell and some of the other point guards here in the Western Conference, I think I'm okay with the Kings in a play-in when they look like this.
Well, what we do know is you're fighting for 5 and 6. And if you get to 5 or 6, then you're in a phenomenal position. But there's a lot of games left. This thing's going down to the final game or two. I don't think, the second to last game of the year is against Phoenix. I wouldn't be surprised if that game determines who's 6 and who's 7.
No doubt. Great point, Napes.
All right. Hey, before we get to some more phone calls, I want to tell you about Calusa Sunrise and what they have going on with Blazona Development and Sunrise Landing. This is the newest residential community in Calusa. It is a 5-phase development project. All right. 180 total homes, beautiful homes. They have lot sizes ranging from 7,600 square feet to over 16,000 square feet. Beautiful, spacious interiors, as you can see, quality craftsmanship, affordability, and community, and located adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. Easy access to Highway 20, Highway 45, and I-5. Go to CalusaSunrise.com and check out Sunrise Landing. That's CalusaSunrise.com. Calusa Sunrise from Blazona Development. Kings, 120. Lakers, 107. Sacramento sweeps the season series from the Lakers. And if you don't like that, you don't like Kings basketball. Oh, boy.
Love it. Love it. Grant, John Williams has a question for you. What's your answer?
Sabonis is much better than last year, mainly because he is playing with healthy hands. I don't think he's much better than last year. I mean, I thought he was an all-star last year. I didn't think his hand really bothered him last year based on his productivity. His stats didn't drop off after his thumb injury. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Do I think he's better this year? Yes, I do, which is another reason why I can't believe he wasn't on the All-Star team. But personally, I don't think it's significantly better than last year. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that I don't think the hand made that big of a difference. Now, if the guy was shooting 40% from beyond the arc, maybe we're talking a little bit different. Hey, let's go back to the phones. We bring in our buddy Chang. Chang, welcome to the show.
Hey, Grant Ryan. I still don't understand, who the Sacramento Kings are. All I know is that they swept the Lakers, and that's all we need to know. And I will say this, I think what I've been really impressed is how Mike Brown gets the team ready. And to me, I've been very critical of Mike Brown, but I think what I've been impressed with is, we've been a very healthy team, and recently we've had some injuries, and I think what I've been really impressed with is the next person up mentality, where the bench has been really stepping up, and Keon Ellis wouldn't have played if De'Aaron Fox didn't have that injury, and Keon Ellis played himself into getting more minutes, and so I hope again I'm not a person that believes that we should have Keon starting. I still think Kevin Huerter should be starting. I think it's just too late to change anything up. I think we should maintain that continuity.
Yep.
I'm just hoping that this gives our bench more confidence, because I do feel like our team just seems a lot deeper in recent games. So I'm hoping that these injuries, again, I hope our team's healthy, but it's a blessing in disguise that it gave the confidence to our bench for them to step up.
Yeah, and again, I always look at the 5-game sample size, and the last 24 hours has been the best 24 hours of the season. But if I look at the last 5 games, there's a lot of bad in those last 5 games too. So if I'm going to start my 5-game sample from last night and then go to tonight, I give it an A+. Now let's see what happens with your next 3 games, where you have a home game against the Knicks and a home game against Memphis, and then start a road trip off in Toronto. Okay, so I don't look at one game. I will say these 2 games are very impressive, but that doesn't evaporate. That doesn't erase from my mind what I watched in the previous 2 games against Houston and San Antonio, where I gave this team almost a failing grade. So I got to have a bigger sample size before I'm ready to go gaga. I just do. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, and Chang, here's the other thing that I would say about this Kings. I'm not even looking at sample sizes at this point. It's just a game-to-game thing with them. Now, the only thing that I will say to me is noticeably different. We can talk about analytics and all that stuff. Just the straight eyeball test. Everybody is touching the ball. I've said it multiple times tonight. That changes chemistry on basketball teams.
Good point.
Changes it.
Good point. You're exactly right.
No, and I agree. I think, to me, it's almost the style from last year, where I feel like, maybe we saw more ISO from Malik and Fox when everyone else was struggling. I just feel like the game or the ball passes around when everyone's making the threes, and I definitely feel that sometimes Fox and Monk feels like they just have to take over the game if no one else is scoring. So I think when everyone is having that egalitarian scoring, you just see the ball being more alive. It's passing around, and I hope the shooting continues to do well, because I think that's what's been missing in these games that we were struggling with. We're just shooting the 3 really.
Oh, Chang, I think we lost you. We appreciate the call tonight. Chang always brings it, but some good points.
And again, tomorrow, you look at some of the games, going on in the NBA, right? And you look at the schedule, and you then look at the Phoenix at Boston game. I mean, you got to figure that there's no way the Suns, I shouldn't say no way. It's unlikely, right?
Yes.
That the Suns are going to win that game. And so you can sit back tomorrow, kick back, watch. Dallas is at Oklahoma City on a second night of a back-to-back. I'm going to say that both Phoenix and Dallas lose tomorrow. It could be a great night for Sacramento without them even taking the floor.
Indeed, great point. Grant, what do you say to Cobb that this was a cupcake team tonight on the other side?
They're not a cupcake team. They're not a good team. They're a little better than average. Their record proves that. Cupcake team? Listen, you don't have a cupcake team when you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis on it. That's stupid. All right, that's a stupid comment. They're not a cupcake team.
It's an expensive.
The Lakers have had quality wins this year against opponents. They're 36-31. 36-31 is not cupcake. You know what a cupcake is? Cupcake is San Antonio. All right, 14-52. Cupcake is Washington, who the Kings play next week at 11-54. Okay, Detroit is a cupcake. Oh, by the way, the Kings lost to Detroit. The Lakers are not a cupcake team. That's silly. That's stupid.
I am with you, my friend. I am with you. Lots of good comments tonight. We'll keep putting those up on the screen as we're discussing. We're going to go back to the phones really quick. All right. Go ahead, Condog. Do what you're going to do, buddy.
Well, I guess I'm the only one bringing the broom to the sweep party.
There you go, my man.
Yes. Get that broom some screen time.
Yeah,
anything you want to say about the game real quick?
Actually, it was to the last comment from the NBA guru about the difference between this year and last year's team. this stat, it's comes down to the free throws. This team this year shoots at 73% on 21 attempts. Last year's team shoots 79% at 25 attempts. So they shot better and got to the line more. And I think that is a huge difference.
Good point. Very good point.
Absolutely. Good point. We've talked about free throws very much. Hey, you have fun with that broom tonight, buddy.
Oh, I
Sweep up
am.
some more Lakers.
All right. Light the beam, everyone.
Oh, actually, Con, do the Lakers a favor. Do their fans a favor. Why don't you go down to the Golden One Center and go sweep down there? There's a bunch of price tags that came off their jerseys tonight.
Actually, I got a friend down there too, so I got to go pay him a visit.
Good. Make sure you go get those, buddy.
I love it, man. I love it with the broom. I also love the fact that we can talk about Fosters and Paws, a group of animal advocates, and they work hard to save lives. They primarily focus on vulnerable dogs in shelters. They pull a lot of pregnant moms, nursing moms, bottle puppies. They play, or also dogs with medical needs and dogs in danger of being euthanized. And they deal with families and young people and teach them the benefits of, and really lifelong benefits of being around animals. They are looking for adopters, donors, and fosters. Hey, to learn more, just go to fostersandpaws.org/adopt. That's fostersandpaws.org/adopt. Again, animal advocates, they do a phenomenal job. Tell you who else does a phenomenal job. The Sacramento Kings over the last 24 hours. A phenomenal job. Great, outstanding 24 hours for the Kings.
Outstanding 24. Can't say it any better. Hopefully they can play another 4 quarters of great basketball against the Knicks. Hey, I want to ask you all to go check out my podcast, The Kings Court. It's daily insider Kings podcast. Get you out in about 15, 20 minutes. You might be wondering who the hell this guy is talking with Grant the last couple seasons. If you're going to listen to one episode, go listen to the deposition of Ryan in Sacktown. You will learn much more about me and why you should trust me to talk about these kids.
It's a great episode. I listened to it a couple of days ago. You did a great job, and I do encourage everyone to check it out. So all good. Don't forget, we talk about this tomorrow at 4:00. We'll have a lot more Kings talk and NBA coverage with Jerry Reynolds. That's tomorrow at 4:00 right here on If You Don't Like That. That's why you need to subscribe. Sometimes we change the times of our shows, and if you subscribe, you'll always know when we are coming on. So if you have not yet done so, please hit the subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up. We love to talk Kings and NBA and some other subject matter right here on If You Don't Like That. I also do my open forum shows from time to time where you can ask me any questions. Sometimes I do the shows at 3, sometimes I do them at 4, 5, sometimes 7 o'clock. Just depends what's going on with the schedule. So if you subscribe, you'll know when I'm coming your way, and we really appreciate your support.
And sometimes you get some extra rants too.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
It's been a while since we've had it's been a while since I've had a rant, or we've had a rant in general on this show.
I could do a rant right now. I could do a rant.
You got a rant?
Okay. You know what's unbelievable to me? People that have no lives, people that literally sit at home and get on their computer or their phone and they scroll around the live shows and they go, wow, let me see if I can be an idiot on the chat line, and let me see if I can get the host to comment on me being a moron and an idiot with my stupid ass comments. Trolls, we call them in the world of social media. What's the deal with you if you're one of those people? Do you have that shallow of a life? Is your life that boring, that messed up, that unproductive, where you just literally sit around going, oh, there's a live show. I'm going to join that, and I'm going to make some stupid-ass comments to see what happens. Get a freaking life, would you please? Grow the hell up. Seriously, what's wrong with you? Have you looked in the mirror? Have you asked yourself, God, has my life come to the point where I've got to be on social media and make stupid-ass comments to see if I get a reaction? Grow the hell up, would you please? And go away. And that's my rant for today.
I love it. Luis, you're going to have a hard time following that up. That was a good rant, my friend.
How are you, Luis?
How you doing, Grant? Big fan, man.
Love having you on. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to bring up the fact that we're 6-0 now with Keon Ellis starting.
Yes.
I want to know what you guys' thoughts were about that, especially defensively. It seems like Kevin Herter.
Oh, I think that's the first time we've had Luis and we lost him.
Luis,
Maybe we can get him
Luis,
back.
try to dial. There we go. Let's see.
We got
Luis,
him back.
he's back. There we go. We got you
It
back.
just seems like Kevin Herter, when he's in, if he's hitting his threes, he stays. If he's missing a lot of threes, he's a bit of a defensive liability at times, and it just feels like it'd be better for him to play against other teams' second units. I just wanted to know what you guys' thoughts were about that.
It's very unusual for a team to make a change in the starting lineup, except for injury at this juncture of the season. But the Kings don't have.
I think I lost my sound with you guys.
The Kings don't have room for error. The Kings don't have any room for error right now, and so Mike Brown's got to hit the right buttons here, because one loss could be the difference between being in the playoffs and being in the play-in. It's a very fine line, Ryan. Very fine line. That's a great question, Lewis.
Yeah, great question. Here's the thing, though, Grant. It's not like Keon Ellis came out and won this job, right? I feel like the writing's been on the wall for a really long time. Kevin Herter had his name shopped around a lot in trade talks. I think it's kind of evident the Kings are ready to move on. Now, doesn't mean he can't be useful still this year, Grant.
No, he does something that is very beneficial in this league. He can shoot the ball, right? And if he's on and he's making threes, that extends the defense and does a lot of great things for this team. So don't bury Kevin Herter just because he's had for lack of a better term, a bad year or an off year. You're going to need him somewhat coming down the stretch here and hopefully in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just bury him. I really wouldn't.
He actually, we were talking about where that spark would come from for Mike Brown off the bench in the playoffs. Kevin's actually a great candidate for that because of how streaky he can be. And these guys stay ready. We've talked about it. They stay ready.
Okay. All right. Here's the deal with that. If that were to happen, then it's right here. All right. As a player who has been a starter for a long time, you then have to reprogram your mind and keep your confidence up and not tell yourself that you were demoted and they don't have faith in you anymore. That's where the mental aspect of being an athlete really comes into play. Some guys, can handle that, and others cannot. It's and there's no rhyme or reason. Everyone's different.
And I don't think, Grant, you can really you can't take away from the impact of the not knowing what was going to happen this year for this team, because when the team made the moves in the offseason, as soon as, good job, roar off, it was, how soon could we trade them if it doesn't go well? And so by the time we were a quarter of the way into the season, you've got Herter's name being thrown around 24/7. You've got Barnes, Keegan to a degree. So that's not an easy way to play basketball, Grant. This might be the easiest time Kevin will have playing basketball this season.
Could very well be. Very good point. Don't forget about plumbing needs and repairs. New Works Plumbing will be there for you with their 24/7 service. They've got a fix for you. Just go to sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. Again, sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. That's New Works Plumbing. Kings win it 120-107. They can sit back tomorrow and watch their competition have some very difficult games. Phoenix is at Boston tomorrow. Dallas is at Oklahoma City. Could be a really good day for Sacramento without them even taking the court.
Some of their best days this season have come when they have not taken the court. Remember when they woke up and were in the 6th seed? Everybody's like, yay. Okay, I think this is a great point. So I want to ask you this. D. Scott put this in the chat. Herter lost his superpower during the three-point competition. Is there something to that, Grant?
What does that mean?
You remember when Kevin Herter was in the three-point competition last season?
Yep.
He did horribly, right?
Yep.
Since then, a lot of his three-point struggles, some people theorize that's where it began, but statistically, it did start kind of going down from there.
I don't personally see how an event in an exhibition that means nothing other than if you win and you get a lot of money, would affect how you play in a game. I mean, the 3-point shooting contest is nothing like playing in a game. So I don't see how one would have anything to do with the other.
I could see it having a little bit of an effect. You hear about the baseball players that have issues with their swings after the home run derby. I mean, shooting that many basketballs that quickly is not easy. Anybody that thinks a
No.
3-point shootout is simple, it's not.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with it.
Yeah, sure.
But you know, I don't know. I will say this. Kevin Huerter's the type of guy, when he makes his first shot or two, seems to have that good game, but when he doesn't see the ball going early, it's like, uh-oh, you know, and that we've been seeing too much of that this year.
Yeah. Good pickup, Mason. Sometimes that happens. I almost just was the recipient of a rant.
I was like, what are you kidding me? No,
well done,
I'm
Mason.
like, superpowers. What the hell are we talking about here? I know one thing we're going to be talking about tomorrow, 4:00. Join us right here with Jerry Reynolds. We'll look forward to talking more about this game. Any final thoughts, my friend?
You know what? Great win. Great 48 hours. Let's build on it, Napes.
Yep. I'll just end with this. Best two-game stretch in back-to-back games that I've seen this year. There's a lot to like. There's a lot of positivity right now, but you know how fleeting this can be, right? We saw it last week with the road win against the Clippers, and then they come home and lose to the Bulls. You got 2 games you got to win here on this homestand before you head out on the road. The Knicks, followed by Memphis. Appreciate the heck out of each and every one of you. Tomorrow, 4:00, right here. So long, everybody.